Well, hello and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode. It is so great to have you with me. Today, it's just you and me. We're just going to get nice and personal. And the reason for that is because I want to talk about something. I want to talk about the cost particularly of celebrants. And I'll be honest, I don't really like talking about money. But I didn't want to bring someone else in and get them to talk about it. And then it's like they have to talk about something that I don't like talking about. So I thought, Pete, just do it yourself. And so I started by writing a blog. And I wrote the blog on how much do celebrants cost in Melbourne. And I thought I would just use it as a guide to help everyone understand how do celebrants arrive at the price that they send you. Because I think there might be some things in here that will help you actually get a celebrant for a slightly cheaper price. But when you look, and I think when you start looking, for celebrants, when you're organizing your wedding, of course, you're going to go to easyweddings.com.au because they're sponsors of the show. Hit them up. And you're going to type in celebrants and you'll look in Melbourne and you'll get a complete array. You'll see all these different celebrants, and you'll also notice that they come at different prices. And so you've probably got to wonder, why does this person cost this much and this person's a completely different amount? So I just wanted to give you a bit of an understanding, a behind the scenes look of what's going on. And I think it might help you as well. A few tips in that might actually help you find a celebrant for a slightly cheaper price. So let's talk about first the style of wedding that you're after, because that's definitely going to impact the price. Now, I break three ceremonies up into three different categories, three different types of ceremonies. You have your legals only, your elopement, and the big day. Let's start with the legals only. Legals only, and I describe this in my blog as it's like buying a seasonal box from your favorite organic store. Now, you're not going to get the exotic fruit, but you'll get a decent meal out of it. Illegals only is pretty much your bare bones. It is where it's going to be you, the celebrant, and two witnesses who are going to just go through the legalities. It might take 10 minutes. It'll probably take 5 minutes. The celebrant will do the monotum. You'll sign the documents you need to sign. You'll say your legal vows. That's pretty much all. You'll just do the essentials, what you need to do. There's probably something there that I can't think of. But you'll just do the bare bones of it. It will cost you less. There's less fuss, there's less preparation. You'll get the legal documents done. You'll probably get to choose your location. And this could work really well if you're a couple who you're getting married again, or maybe it's your first time and you just want something really just simple. Maybe you're going overseas and you just want to get all the legalities done here in Australia. So it's going to cost you around $550. And the cost of that will change slightly depending on the location, depending on how far you're asking a celebrant to travel. Now, roughly, that's going to cost you around $550. Roughly. That's what I charge for my legals only. Turn up, not wearing a suit or anything. No one's really dressed in their best. We're there, we do the thing, and then we're done. So that's an option. The next option is if you were doing an elopement. Now, 50 years ago, the word elopement, maybe a little bit longer. No, it's 50 years ago. The word elopement would bring about shame to the family. Can't believe they married that person. They're supposed to marry someone else down the street, But nowadays, elopements, they're the new thing. They're trendy. They're about going to some little remote place out the back with a river, and it's just going to be, or redwood forest with tall trees out in Warburton. It's just going to be you, maybe 2 to 10 other people, witnesses. Your photographer will be there. The celebrant will be there. This is where, instead of just sitting in your living room or a bar or something and just doing signing stuff and sharing vows there, you're putting more of a ceremony around it. People are getting dressed up. We're going to have a little bit more fun here. I explain this as it's like you're going to Aldi because you want an adventure. You want something and you don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea what's on offer, but all you know is that you want to discount it. And it will be discounted pretty much because there's less preparation. And so what I charge, I think a lot of other celebrants charge as well. Again, it's important to ask other celebrants what they charge, but I'm pretty sure it's estimated around that 700, 770 mark. And again, the travel might change a few things as well, but there's less prep. It's pretty, decent, moderate cost. All the legalities get done. You get to have your choice. You get a little bit more of a ceremony around the experience, but it's again just nice and it's simple. It's less fuss. And the last is what I call the big day. This is the big fat Greek wedding. This is where you're going to Coles and Woolies or Amazon. Like you've got options, you've got choices. The world is your oyster. Now, the big day, that's where you can invite as many people as you want. The celebrant's going to bring their sound system. You're going to have a fully personalized story and ceremony. Like you are doing everything and you're doing it big. Now, that's obviously going to cost a little bit more because there's more preparation. And we're going to talk about some of that preparation as well. But the cost will vary a fair bit from here as well in terms of celebrants. Some celebrants will charge around 800, and then other celebrants will charge around 2,000. My price for a ceremony is 1,650. Now, I've been in this doing weddings for 5 years. And thankfully, I have a very full calendar, particularly this year because of the last 2 years. But 2023, it's filling up. I've got weddings coming in 2024 as well, and I love that. I love that couples are trusting me and they're booking me, and I love to be part of the day. Because I have more demand for myself, my prices have just slowly, incrementally gone up and up and up. And that's like you'll find with a lot of celebrants. And so I think probably one of the first things you'll find in terms of what will impact the price is a celebrant's previous experience. I think that there is a correlation between the experience a celebrant has and the demand that is on them, and thus the cost will go up because there's only a certain amount of dates that they will be able to offer. And we'll talk about dates and times soon. Now, you would hope that the celebrant's skill is going to go up as well over that time. So the longer a celebrant's been doing it, the more they're in demand because the better they are. The experience, people, it's sort of a tried and true, tested, tried and my gosh. People can read reviews. That's what I'm trying to say. They can see the reviews. They can say, oh my gosh, 75-star reviews. That's the person I want. And so they've been tested and they're good and people want them. There's more trust in them as well. So that's a big one that I think the experience behind a celebrant will impact their price. Let's talk about dates and times. This is where you can possibly save some money as well. Saturday afternoons are a treasured time. Roughly from 2 to 5 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, most celebrants will probably be booked for about 12 months because it's just like that's the best time that most people want to get married. And it makes sense. It's the day after Friday. People are pumped. It's Saturday. They've got ready for a party. They can recover on the Sunday. It's good. So maybe if you're looking for something a little bit cheaper, you might want to go a little bit of a different day. Maybe let's try the Sunday or the Friday. Maybe even go the Thursday. Or maybe I still really want the Saturday. Okay. Would you be willing to do it an earlier time? Perhaps the earlier, you're going to then allow a celebrant who is in demand to be able to offer you another time as well. And you could just ask them, hey, at this time, could you do it at a cheaper price? You could just ask. Couldn't hurt. Let's talk about, and I've already mentioned a few times of why costs vary, and that's preparation. Because preparation is all the time that happens beforehand for a celebrant. It's a little bit different with some other vendors, photographers, all their work pretty much, well, not all their work, a lot of their work happens post the wedding day. They've got the full day there. It's a lot of hours on the day, but then they've got to go through and edit all those pictures for you as well. It's a lot of work in the post-production. In terms of a ceremony, the celebrant has done all the work leading up to, and then it's just the ceremony is the pinnacle. Like that's the peak of the day, peak of the work that the celebrant's doing for you as well. So if you even just look at the story in itself, that preparation there for the story is 5 to 7 hours. So if you do it like a legals only or an elopement, you're unlikely going to have the story in there. Thus, that's 5 to 7 hours a celebrant isn't going to charge you for. But if you're having that story in there, you're meeting with the celebrant, they're putting all that work in beforehand, writing it, and going through drafts and emailing, then practicing it before they show up. Like it's a lot of hours just to make sure that that story is good and the delivery is perfect. So I think that is one thing. It's just the preparation. Travel is another one as well. I'd say anything 100 kilometers outside of a major city will begin to attract higher prices to cover the cost of petrol and maybe even accommodation, depending where you choose. But if you're looking at, you want to go to Greece or Italy or Croatia or Spain, just ask me, and I reckon I'll pay my own way there, or at least I'm very really happy to chat about that if that's what you're after. But a few other things maybe ask the celebrant in terms of their prices. What are they providing? Now, they should be assisting you with the legal documents, and they should be bringing their own sound system because it's a legal requirement that your vows are heard by your witnesses. So they should be bringing those things. But maybe a celebrant also helps you with your personal vows. Maybe a celebrant helps you with organizing the flow of the ceremony. Maybe a celebrant, maybe they will do a few other things. I don't know, you ask them, but there's probably a few other things they might provide that will help. I like to provide a little gift when I can. I just think it's a nice little gift here and there. I want to do a little thought experiment as well. I think it's quite common for celebrants to be viewed as like they come in for 30 minutes, they do their job. So how do they cost and why do they charge what they charge? Like, how do they justify that? And I think of this as like, thinking an icy pole. An icy pole is not the word I'm after. I'm clearly just a dad who's been asked for an icy pole at least 4 times today already. Thinking about an iceberg, that's the word I'm really after. So with an iceberg, you can really only see the very top of it. So let's imagine that that is the only work the celebrant does, that 30 minutes. Well, that would mean that they turn up exactly when one of the couples turns up at that point, and that's when the ceremony starts. If that's when your celebrant turned up, I don't think you'd be too impressed. So you probably want them to turn up a little bit earlier. You'd want to make sure that they arrive at least 15, 30, 45 minutes before, set their sound system up, which is something they've already paid for, and they're all ready to go. Now, they should have also, you'd hope they'd have organized all the legal documents, because it's pretty important if you want to get married. So they would have to know what they're doing with that. So they would have had to done a course, they would have had to have done a course already. So with the course, they've had to pay for that. They've had to go through months of that. They've had to do assessments and essays and videos of them showing them doing ceremonies. And then they're registered. They've got to pay for their registration. And then they're a celebrant. So you want to make sure you've actually got a real celebrant, not just some fella off the street. Then what are they going to say? Are they just turning up early, setting up the sound system, and they're a registered celebrant? No, you want to make sure that they are a registered celebrant, but that they're also turning up and they are prepared with what they're going to say. You want to make sure that what they're coming to share with you is of actual decent quality. You want to make sure that you're happy with your story. Again, at least 5 to 7 hours for a decent story. You want to make sure that they're planned for this. They're prepared. They know what's going on. There's a lot of preparation in that work beforehand. I think it's estimated by Easy Weddings that it's an average of 13 hours is spent with each couple by the celebrant. And, in terms of what else impacts that, the celebrant who's running their business is then thinking about, well, I've still got to pay tax after that. Some celebrants have not paid just tax, but GST. Then they've got their super to pay for as well. So there's a few different things impacting from just a celebrant's perspective, what they're thinking of with how much they charge and the time that they're putting in. They're not just turning up for that 30 minutes. There's a lot of preparation under the iceberg, holding that 30 minutes up. Then I think it's worth just taking heed with this advice. And it sounds a bit brutal, I'll be honest, but I think it's still true, is that you get what you pay for. Now, sometimes that's not always true. You can actually find quality stuff at Kmart. Good bowls. We have great bowls at Kmart. We bought from Kmart. I broke one this morning accidentally. Was putting some porridge in it, and thankfully it was still oats before it became the whole porridge ordeal, and there was no milk in it, so it was okay. It was an easy cleanup. But even something of quality will break. But so I'm like, you can get good stuff from Kmart. That's the point I'm saying. However, I think when it comes to other things like clothes you buy and different accessories around the home that you purchase, you want to make sure that it's of quality. So you'll probably go to a different store, not Kmart. I'm not making Kmart. Kmart's fantastic. Hit them up. Why not? I just think that when it comes to a wedding, when it's something that you are pretty much going for once at your life, you're wanting it to be incredible, you're wanting it to be amazing, there's a lot of pressure on the vendors who are coming there to make sure that what they bring to your day that you're probably going to do once is of actually decent quality. There's a lot of pressure on them to make sure that you're getting what you want and what you've asked for. You're putting a lot of trust in them. And look, I've had some, I wouldn't say sleepless nights, but I've lost sleep in those nights thinking and just trying to think, how can I say that better? How can I make that better? It's going to impact how how individuals, what they do and what they don't do the day before. They're not going to have a big party the night before, so that when they turn up, they're in a clear headspace, they're feeling sharp, and they're ready for your day. So there's lots of things that impact a celebrant. And I think a quality celebrant, if you're being asked to pay more, sure, ask them why that is. I've put mine in a blog for you, and now it's in a podcast too. But I think you really will get better quality when you're when you're paying more. Now, if you're in the situation, which most of us are right now, with petrol prices are higher, veggies are higher, goodness, and you're like, Pete, I need to save a little bit. And for some, it might be like the ceremony is not the be all and end all for us. We're okay if it's not the best thing in the world. We just want it done. We'll try. There are heaps of celebrants out there, and just find the one that you feel that you vibe with and that you gel with the most. If you feel like you can trust them and that the price works for you, go for them. And I have couples that come to me, and the ceremony for them, it's huge. Like it's for them, it's like one of the most important aspects of their day. I think the important thing is that when you've got your budget, shop around for celebrants, meet with a few that you like, and then with the one you feel most comfortable with, go for them. But I don't think going for the cheapest one is the right choice to make, because I do think that you will get what you pay for. And you're giving this individual, a celebrant, 30 minutes of uninterrupted time to talk to your closest friends and family, to share your story, to talk about love and marriage and some pretty important stuff. And you want to make sure that when they're doing this, that people are enjoying it, they're not bored out of their mind, and that you want to make sure, from my thoughts, that it's not this weird Disney magical tone, that you want to feel like it's authentic and it's real, that it's funny, but yet it's also relaxed and sentimental as well. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a little bit of understanding about how celebrants get to the price they get to. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, reach out. Other than that, Have an incredible day. Bye.
Cause